Well, ladies and gentlemen, last night we had the disaster Kamala interview on Fox News. I was live streaming it and we were looking at Polymarket, and it really wasn't adjusting very much. It actually went a little bit down for Trump last night, but now it's made a huge adjustment. And Donald Trump, this is a new all time high. It's about a 24 to 25 point lead, give or take, as we update here live. Donald Trump around a 62, 63% chance to win the election. Trump is reaching numbers in terms of the betting that we have not seen since Biden back in July, when Biden was basically a dead candidate at that point, almost figuratively and literally. Biden was not getting any funding. Trump was, you could take a look at the overall graph here, and this is remarkable what we've seen. I've been waiting for a correction because I'm like, look, we see the polling, we understand, and people still look at the polling and libs cope and they say, well, it's basically a tie right now. Well, if it was a tie, number one, it's actually not a tie. Trump is up if you look at the overall polling, and now even in some of the models where they weigh them heavily to favor Democratic pollsters, who, by the way, you've got some of these pollsters like we saw yesterday with Marist completely warping the overall aggregate average by oversampling Democrats. We got Gallup's. Listen, the election might have ended yesterday, and I'm not saying to not vote. Everyone should go out and vote, of course, but you get the Gallup party ID. And they basically made like a concession article saying Republicans, they basically said Republicans are going to win this election because of how accurate their party ID numbers are. They're saying it's going to be a +2, +3 Republican environment. If that's the case, even if they're off by 2 or 3 points, it's very, very hard to see the Democrats winning this election, even though I do expect the popular vote, no matter what, to be closer because of Trump picking up voters in a New York, in an Illinois, in a California. They're not going to run up the crazy numbers that they did in 2020 or 2016, so the popular vote's going to get more condensed. But still, in general, if this is a +3, +2 Republican environment, imagine they're sampling polls, just general election popular vote polls with a +2 Republican environment. I think Trump would probably be winning the average popular vote, but they've mostly done a +2 or +3 Democrat environment, which is not surprising considering they won the popular vote. The Dems did in 2020 by 4, but it doesn't, based on Gallup party ID, we'll see if they release a final one, but they came out with an article and they said Trump's going to win this election. They're like, they basically said it'd be shocking if Harris won. It'd be a crazy deviation from what we've seen. And I think this might be a correction because of what happened with Gallup. Those numbers are so crazy. The most recent one being a Republican +7, which obviously it's not going to be, that's not the actual number. The average is like Republican +2, +3. And you combine that with the terrible Fox News interview last night. Let me give the full take on the Fox News interview. The Fox News interview was done out of panic. Whenever you make a decision out of panic, it's probably not going to go well. The Kamala campaign, they had a goal, they had a strategy after the DNC. They were not going to do Fox News. They didn't think they needed Fox News. That's why Kamala declined the debate with Trump on Fox News, and Trump had to have a town hall the night the debate was supposed to be. I think that was September 4th. And the campaign knew it wasn't going to make her look good. They didn't care. They thought they didn't need Fox News. They didn't have to go on any of these Republican networks. They didn't want anything to do with that. It's obvious now, based off of whether it's their internals, whether it's other polling, whatever it may be, they're making a change within their campaign, which signals to me that they know they are losing right now. And she goes on Fox News, and I saw liberals try and, it was a train wreck. She just couldn't answer the questions. It is what it is. The immigration question to start, I thought Brett Baer was really good. I know a lot of Republicans liked how he handled that last night, because you do have to push back, and because she just won't answer, and she'll just keep, retorting back to Trump is bad, he's evil, he's disgusting. Remember, Trump went on that Bloomberg Economic Forum, and they asked Harris to go on it. She declined, but she does this Fox News interview where apparently she was 15 minutes late as well. So that was a rushed thing. They did not want that to happen. The Democrats would have loved if Kamala was doing another interview with, actually, I think they would love if she was just not talking at all. And they could win this election with her not doing anything, but they obviously can't. They see the polls, they say you have to go do stuff. That's why the Obama people came in, and it was reported there was infighting. We know that Joe Biden, at this point, it seems like he really dislikes Kamala. And it's funny because this is something that Democrats say, how much Mike Pence and the people surrounding Trump during his first administration, how much they don't like him now when you've got Kamala Harris's own president, because she's the VP right now, Biden, who hates her. I mean, because of what happened, because of the basically coup And that was admitted by Nancy Pelosi and many other Democrats who actually, I mean, they went to DC and they demanded that Biden be removed. So when you look at this, man, I mean, it's every swing state outside of maybe Nevada. And I even think now Nevada has swung to Trump slightly. Will there be a correction here? You've got Trump up by about 23, 24. I mean, it's not totally out of the realm that we enter election night with this, or maybe even Trump takes a bigger lead, because you have to understand what we've seen from the national polls. Outside of a few outliers with bad samples mucking up the average, we've seen the main liberal pollsters go very tight on the general election popular vote polls. You had CBS, you had NBC, you had Marquette, you had Fox News. Fox News had a crazy poll last night, and you just got to wonder, and I know Fox, they've got a lot of money to do these polls, but it's like, you're telling me Trump is going to win the popular vote by 2 points. He's going to win independents, but he loses the battleground states. I don't even know how they do. Like, they combined all the battleground states polling, and he was down by 6, but he wins the popular vote by 2. I mean, a lot of these polls just do not align, especially the polls that are negative against Trump. But many, even the liberal polls, what I'm saying is you're seeing the popular vote get closer. And, you've got a Marquette who's been very liberal this cycle. They're starting to adjust it. Quinnipiac's numbers have been all over the place. You've got Trump up but big in some swing states, down big in others, but they're definitely saying that it's going to be more conservative this year based on where Quinnipiac's polling was in 2020. They were crazy liberal. Now it seems like they're condensing it. You've got CBS condensing it. You've got NBC condensing it, saying basically that the popular vote is a 50-50 toss-up. You've got the betting now adjusting the popular vote, saying Trump's got like a 35 to 40% chance to win that as well. Everything seemingly is adjusting, and I do wonder if we could find the popular vote here. This is the popular vote. Yeah, so Donald Trump is making even more gains here. Now he's up to around 37. See, he was stagnant around 25 to 27, it seemed like, for the past month. And you can even see, this reflects it right here. He was down to about 21% chance. Harris was almost 80-20 in mid-September. And now it's about 75, or wait a minute, now it's about 63-37, around 60-40. So this is crazy. It's getting very close in terms of the popular vote. And this is the reflection we've seen from the major liberal pollsters getting closer with their popular vote. And when you see that, you're going to see it reflective in the odds where people start betting more on Trump to even take the popular vote. And if he does that, we know it should be a relatively easy election victory. We've also got this, I've been critical of this pollster, and I don't think these are very accurate numbers. I would be shocked if Trump won Texas by 11.5. If you guys look back at 2020, he won it by 5.8 in 2020, and there's been a liberal migration into Texas. Now, we have seen positive polling for Republicans when it comes to potentially holding that 5.5 to 6 point lead, maybe even extending it to 7 or 8. I've gotten some people that have told me it's going to be around 10, just because, to me, it would be crazy if it was around 10, again, based off the amount of people that have moved into that state and just the narrative surrounding Texas, with all the big liberal cities getting more and more liberal, all the people moving in from California because of the cost, because of crime. I just can't see 11.5. And normally this pollster, they've got the way they poll, I don't know. This was a long sample, I guess. This was like almost like a 25, 26 day sample. It's got Trump up by 11.5. I think it's probably, I don't know about 11.5, man. I was going to say like 7 or 8 would be great for Republicans. If Trump wins Texas by 11.5, that's also going to help significantly with the popular vote, because obviously Texas is a highly populated state. And then Ted Cruz winning by 5.5, that's something I could see. I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference. And people were saying that in the comments. You're going to see, if Ted Cruz wins by 5.6, it'll be Trump by about 8 or 7.5, I would say. I think Ted Cruz is going to be right there with Trump. Ted Cruz had a really good debate against Allred. He crushed him. Ted Cruz is a really sharp dude. And Ted Cruz was already the favorite going into that debate. He was like 4.5 up in the polls on average. And I think it's probably going to be about a 4.5 to 5.5 point victory for Cruz in Texas. But listen, these are great numbers. If this is what happened, this would be a popular vote win for Trump if he won Texas by double digits. That's just a crazy, crazy thing considering how we've seen that state shift. But I don't think that's necessarily likely. We have to be honest about it. It seems like maybe this poll overinflating Trump a little bit when it comes to the Texas support. And also, I think Trump and Cruz are going to be closer in comparison when it comes to those two. But either way, the Kamala interview was horrible. I know liberals trying to spin it, saying she went on a tough network. Yes, she did. But she didn't want to. This is not like it's like she's happy to do this. And the reason we know that is because she declined the Fox News debate on September 4th. If she had accepted that, And then she went on here that would be consistent with her strategy. Her strategy has clearly changed because of very, very bad internal polling numbers. I mean, it's been reported by Axios. There's huge infighting within the Kamala campaign with the Biden people. Joe Biden will not campaign for her. Joe Biden didn't even stay during her speech at the DNC. He left on the first night. This is a total mess within the Democratic Party. And it just goes to show, I mean, Trump right now is running away with this election. We'll see. I think the Gallup ID, that was a death blow to liberals when you see that. We'll see what the final one that gets released is, but it basically confirms. I mean, listen, like even if the final one is Democrat +4, if you take the average, it's still going to be Republican +1 or +2. And if it's that, it's very, very, it would be very shocking if Harris won based on how accurate that poll has been relative to popular vote. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.